give you the chicken breast. The boneless, skinless chicken breast to be exact. High in protein, low in fat, widely available at a reasonable price at basically any place that ever sells food. And best of all, tastes like chicken. The catch with this thing is cooking the darn thing so that it doesn't give you salmonella and also doesn't feel like shoe leather. To tackle that, we're going to cover a couple things today. Chicken breast portioning, seasoning, optional marinade, cooking it, and then serving it. Hope the video is helpful. Here we go. Okay, let's begin by talking about portioning the chicken breast. The chicken, when whole, is actually pretty cool in that you can cook the whole thing together and it ends up being a nice even doneness. The chicken breast by itself is not the same. You see here this monstrosity that I've got is almost a pound in and of itself, so it's way beyond a serving. It's got the little rib meat connected to it. It's teardrop shaped, and so it's going to have a thin end and a fat end. Common problem you see in fish fillets and chicken breast here as well. So to proportion this correctly so that it cooks nice, we're going to remove the variable of the different size by filleting this into at least 2 pieces, sometimes 3, depending on the size of your critter. So I'm going to just remove and trim off the rib meat from the end here. Any other extra fat, you can be as aggressive or not aggressive as you like when removing the fat. Chicken meat is a lean meat to begin with, so if you left most of the fat on, it still wouldn't be bad, but I tend to remove almost all the fat to, again, control things across the board. Every time I buy chicken, there might be more fat, might be less fat, and if I just took whatever I got at the store, I'd have to adjust my recipe or my cook time depending. So I like to just trim it no matter what. That way I know every single time I cook chicken, it is a very lean, almost fatless piece of meat. And so I'm just finishing that up here, removing this little corner piece that's always in there. I'm using a utility knife. If you don't have a utility knife, I recommend going and getting one. It's somewhere longer than a paring knife, but it's not a chef knife, so it's nice and thin, and so it's easy to use and come in here and just kind of clean up the chicken breast as you go. So this looks pretty good, and now what we're going to do is we're going to find that really fat section all the way at the top here, and we're going to basically cut that right in half and then try to use the cutting board here as our level to maintain a level stroke as much as we can, ending up, for this piece here, I'll just keep it simple, and we'll end up with a top and a bottom. So I'm going to come in here and just start sliding my knife on through. Notice my hand is way out of the way up on top of the chicken breast, and I'm guiding the blade so that it stays level with the cutting board. It's going to come out here at the top like so, and you're going to end up with these 2 pieces, 2 halves, which are going to be way more nice straight up and down pieces that are going to cook far more evenly, and truth be told, be closer to a serving size anyways. We'll talk about serving later on. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and knock out the rest of these. You just sit tight, grab a beer, do whatever it is you got to do. Okay, I'm back. We have our chicken breast portioned appropriately. The serving size has already been determined. Earlier step, we've got an even thickness throughout, so when we cook, we've removed that variable that the chicken puts in front of us, and hopefully we get a nice even cook all throughout. We're now moving on to the last step prior to cooking, which is seasoning and or marinating. Now, here's the rule. Is the thing you are about to eat the dead version of something that used to walk on the land? If it is, you will be using salt at this point. Period. We're talking lamb, goat, beef, pork, chicken, you name it. If it was on the ground when it was alive, you are now salting your protein. Okay? The only small possible exception you could use is if you were using a rub that you made or purchased, like Old Bay, where the first ingredient is salt. Okay, then I will let it slide because you're effectively putting salt on the meat. For me, for tonight, in this application, I'm not going to go with the rub, I'm going to go with salt. I'm using kosher salt here, and you are going to liberally apply the kosher salt to both sides. I have, of course, washed my hands between the steps here. Notice I cleaned the cutting board, got it out of the way. Clean as you go, classic rules. You're going to want to see the salt cover basically every nook and cranny of your protein. If I had a cameraman, he would come in for a zoom at this point, but I don't, so watch this. Ooh, do you see the shiny little rock-like things on the chicken? Also the even slicing of the cooking. Nice, nice, very good. Yes, that shiny rock-like thing is in fact the only rock that you consume, salt. We'll flip over and do the other side. If I had tongs, I would have used them. You should use tongs. I'm using my right hand. And I will now use my left hand to do the salt for the other side. Excellent. So, why are we salting the protein? Why do we make such a big stink out of this? This is your best and only chance to season the actual meat and salt directly on the wet flesh that we've exposed with the cut work, as well as just the fact that chicken is a very moist protein anyways, is going to draw out a lot of the flavors, a lot of things that will do well with the flame, which we will be applying to the flesh later on. If you salt something after you have cooked it, odds are the salt is going to run off of whatever hard cooked surface that you are now putting it on, steak, chicken, anything really at all, and you're not going to get the adhesion and the flavor that you want. Salt versus water is always the great balancing act whenever you're doing any kind of cooking. If you want less flavor, you add water. If you want more flavor, you add salt. That's it. That's how taste buds work. Okay? Great. I'm not a chemist, but close enough. Okay, cool. Touching on marinade, I didn't marinate anything here. If I wanted to marinade, I would still probably lightly salt the chicken and let it sit out for a while, unless I made the marinade myself and the first ingredient was salt. If you got a store-bought marinade, that's fine. I actually just use Italian dressing a lot of times, which is also high in sodium. So those will work, and if you're going to do that, take your cut chicken breast or portioned chicken breast here, put them into a zip-top bag or a Tupperware container, and just throw the marinade on, just enough to coat it. We are not looking for extra liquid flying around, slopping around. We just want enough to coat. Toss it in there and let it sit for maybe an hour before cooking it. Chicken, especially when you slice it like this, doesn't need anything like overnight, unless you're doing sour milk fried chicken, in which case you need it overnight. And we might have to do that one next. Okay. All right. See you outside. A wise man once said, grilling requires only heat, meat, and beer. Okay, it was me. Just now. But the point is, grilling is great. Let's do it. All right. We have our portioned chicken ready to go. While you are off grabbing your drink of choice, I lit the coals, dumped the coals, spread the coals, put the grates on, cleaned the grates, did all that good stuff. And now we are ready to go. The temperature, let's talk about the temperature we're going for here. My completely untrustworthy thermometer on the grill tells me that I am in excess of 450 degrees, which is what I want to see. Very hot. The time we're going for, because we cut them nice and evenly with our chicken here, the time is a measly 7 to 8 minutes total cook time. We'll discuss more of that as we move forward in the cooking. Let's check our grill, check our temperature. We are, of course, all coal all the time here. If you have a gas grill, fantastic. Use your charcoal one. So from here, we can test the heat. There's all kinds of metrics you can do because, again, I don't trust The thermometer's built in. If you can bring your hand down and rest it above the coals for like 3 seconds, then it's 300, or 2 seconds, it's whatever. But if you bring your hand down and your will stops you from moving it any further, you're good to go. You've reached the fury of 1,000 suns, which is what we're going to want for this application. We don't want to beat around the bush. We have nice even pieces of chicken that we want to hit directly, quickly, and evenly with maximum firepower. So, let's do this. I have my tongs, I have my chicken. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place them down on the grill grates at roughly a 45-degree angle from whatever I kind of perceive to be the direction of the chicken. So for a square piece like this, it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to go ahead and put it down. But for longer pieces like so, I'm going to throw that down at a 45-degree angle like that. These pieces are just going straight down, no extra lube, nothing like that. Put them down at this 45-degree angle, right onto the hot grates. And we will set our timer for 2 minutes. Boop. What happens in 2 minutes? Give me a minute. 2 of them. Cheers. Okay, our 2 minutes are up. It is time to rotate the chicken. Boom. Remember, we put the chicken down at a 45-degree angle. When I say rotate, I do not mean flip. Rotate. We're going to go to the other 45-degree angle here. Notice how the chicken comes up nice and easily from the grill. And that's what you want to see, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. Very nice grill marks and the beginning of browning throughout. Okay? We're going to rotate to the other 45-degree angle. Get those fancy restaurant quality hash marks on our chicken here, as well as giving us a nice way of structuring the cooking, right? And remember, if you're looking, it's not cooking. Close the lid. Very good. Bring up our phone or timekeeping device of choice. Another 2 minutes. Bam. Just like that. Now, you might be wondering at this point, Nick, where's your sauce? Where's your marinade? Well, in the words of my 3.5-year-old, I don't wanna. So when I'm grilling, if I had marinated it ahead of time, that would have been sauce enough for me. As it was, I just went with the salt and thank you, birds. I just went with the salt. Oh, and I did end up peppering them as well. I'll note that. And that's enough, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to want very nicely cooked, well-seasoned, generic chicken breast out of this application here on the grill, where then I'm going to be able to apply them in a number of ways. What I want to do, similar to wings that you would cook, where you, like deep fried wings for instance, where you obviously can't sauce in the middle of cooking, I'm going to treat this similarly. If I want to apply sauce or some external flavor, I'm going to do it immediately after it comes off the heat, when it's still piping hot on the outside and it can absorb a lot of flavor, barbecue sauce, hot sauce, any kind of savory sauce that you'd like to throw on there at that time. Even a cream sauce would be fine and wonderful, and something that you wouldn't want to put, obviously, on your grill that you keep out in your garage, things like that. So I like to sauce my chicken after it comes off of the grill and not during the grill process. During the grill process, I'm just doing the systematic 2 minutes, rotate 2 minutes, and then, you know, give me like another minute and we'll see what happens next. Excellent. Timer is done. Next 2 minutes is up. Time to flip. We open. We notice right away the tops of the chicken here. I'll show you. Top of the chicken that hasn't hit the direct heat at all is already starting to look a little nice. Backside, look at those beautiful cross marks with a little bit of even browning along. The sides are getting a little crispy, but that's fine. Extra flavor. So we're going to do our flip now, and we're going to flip directly the way they're currently facing at the current 45-degree angle. Flip just like this, like this. Very nice. From here, close the lid. Another 2 minutes. Bam. Beep, 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 beep. 2 more minutes gone by. Time for the first time to check the chicken for doneness. Notice that the technique we're using here is really very straightforward and very methodical. We cut everything to be even doneness, even thickness, so it would all arrive, finish at the same time. And so we're just gone 2 minutes, rotate, 2 minutes, flip, 2 minutes. Now for the first time we're going to check it. And by checking it, I don't mean meat thermometer or cut it open. We're going to go ahead and just start touching it, poking it around, feeling for firmness. We want the chicken we pull off to have a nice spring back, right back when we touch it. It should be fairly firm. If you're used to the doneness with steak and whatnot with your hand, you're probably looking for something close to a medium to medium well even. These are actually pretty close, so I'm going to go ahead and give them one more rotate, okay? 45-degree rotate just to give them a second on that other side to make sure this side gets some color for us. If you're looking, you're not cooking. Close that up. Wait, I mean, we're talking, we're just going to wait about 30 seconds here just to give it a little bit of chance to get some color on that other side. We had our heat up nice and high, which is what we wanted. We wanted to be, no questions asked, cooking this thing as soon as it hit the ground. Or the grates, as it were, and so we could set our timer and just go on down the line, bam, bam, bam. Now, here's the thing. In about 20 seconds, I'm going to pull off chicken that is not quite done. Okay? So, here's the thing. If you pull off chicken after it's done, you're going to be eating shoe leather in about 10 minutes, okay? There's a thing called carryover, which we are going to count on because it's going to happen. We're not going to fight it. It is the reality of meat when it comes off the grill. We are going to take off chicken right now that is just underdone, and we are going to cover it up and hope that carryover does the job it's supposed to do. It's science. There's no hope. It's going to work. Let's do it. Got my plate. Got my chicken. Looks great. One last little touch. Feels good. And of course it's all roughly cooked. It's all roughly cut to the same thickness. No matter how long or wide the piece is versus some of the short ones, that doesn't matter. That was a serving decision we made earlier that has very little to do with the cooking. Saran wrap here. The ultimate carryover friend, traps in all the extra heat. Alright, I can tell you right now, holding on to this plate, it is piping hot as if it just came out of the oven or so, underneath where the chicken made contact. And look at that steam already forming in there. That's great. So we're just going to let this rest for a few minutes, and while we do so, now would be the time to think about serving. What are you going to do with this? Barbecue sauce? Italian dressing, more Old Bay, more seasoning, chop it up, put it in a salad, whatever you like. More when we come back later. Okay, we're back inside. Took care of everything on the grill. Everything looked great. Now, what do? How do we serve this thing? I just sliced into a piece, and let me just share that with you if I could. I don't know if you can see the glistening. Look how juicy that is. Cooked all the way through. Looks very nice. This sat for a good 10-15 minutes. It's still plenty warm and applicable now in a number of service apparatus. What I did is for instance, I hit some of them with some barbecue sauce right away, grilled off some buns on the grill, and made a little barbecue slider chicken out of this. Oh yeah. That's okay. It's okay. Or you could take some, throw it on top of a nice salad. I got some lettuce. I got some grilled corn in here, tomatoes, lettuce, cheese, and of course the star. Nice diced up chicken, fantastic. Chipotle, eat your heart out. Or get fancy. Rice pilaf with a nice chicken breast laid out, sliced over top. This is a good 6 to 8 ounce serving like you might get at a restaurant, topped with some herbal sauce there. You can throw on whatever you like. Very, very nice, very good. And this, well, this is a well-seasoned, perfectly cooked piece of chicken hot off the grill. That's good. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, hope it was helpful, and if you'd like to see more things like this, please just let me know, I suppose in the comments, or send me a message or whatever. Alright, great. Have a great day. See you again soon.